Yes, happy World Mental Health Day. Ooh, ooh. What's going on, y'all? Thank you and welcome. Let's get Yatu up here. I see him up in here. We're going to have a good and powerful conversation about mental health. It is something that is so important. Hey, Yatu.
Hey. I got to jump out and jump right back in.
Okay, do it. I got you. So I'll let you guys, let's see I don't know. No, I can't do all that. I'm not that good. Anyways, we'll start with you, Mike. Introduce yourself and tell the people what it is that you do.
Oh man, well, first of all, me and Jamie have known each other forever, so it is an honor to be here again because I did this show I think two times, not this particular show, but another show that you were doing, and happy to be here. But my name is Michael McConnell, aka Oshim. I am the founder of the Rebel Camp. We are a brand consulting agency. And I have various different clients across the board in different industries, ranging from tech and real estate to beverage to mental health, which we're talking about today. I've been a brand consultant helping startups and large companies just be more profitable and connect to people culturally as well. I've been doing that for a couple years now, and it's been amazing. I love what I do for a living.
Yeah, I love that. And Uncle Wasely's too. Amazing. All right, BJ, let the people know who you are and what you do.
All right, so my name is Denjetta, aka BJ. I'm not doing what Michael's doing, but I am a mental health. I am a mental health professional. I work as a therapist. I've been working with behavioral health for like 13, 14 years now. I have my own business, Be Balance Health and Wellness, where we do mental health consulting and also life coaching. So I'm really big on advocating, educating, and providing a voice for people, like particularly Black and Brown, of the importance of like mental illness and mental health. I also do financial services as a balance to all of this stuff that I have to deal with people and their emotions and everyday life. So I kind of need a balance for myself. So I kind of dibble and dabble into financial services where I have my own private practice in that as well, because I believe the two go hand in hand with each other. You know, like when your finances is not together, that's when anxiety and depression and stress comes into your life. So I like to create a balance in the two. But I am the voice for the voiceless as it relates to mental health.
I love it. Thanks, girl. And that was a good point you made. We might have to circle back on that. And Yatu, introduce yourself and what you do.
Okay, I'm Yatu Marvel, dating and relationship consultant and a certified life coach. I'm not a mental health professional, although at times it feels that way. I'm here to acknowledge that I have not done the level of work that my co-panelists have, but I think I can add something cool to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. So we were chatting backstage, but Mike meet and Yatu and Yatu meet Mike, and I shared with them
Nice
that we have our show, on Wednesdays.
Yes.
And me and Mike go back. Okay, so what is it at this point? Like 13, 14 years?
Yeah, man. I had hair. I mean, it was a whole other thing going on. Clubs used to be fun. I mean, it was wild. This is like before Instagram. Let's just say that. So we used to I just dated us. I did that.
That's crazy.
But we still look good. You know what I'm saying? Because black don't crack, right? So
Nice.
no, we go back many years. And it's funny because we go back before the mental health conversation really started. It wasn't popular. Like you just be classified, oh, he's crazy, and then dismissed.
Right.
So it's good to be able to have these conversations and hold space.
So, do you prefer Michael or Oshim?
Michael's fine. Okay. I got to throw my spiritual warrior name in there every now and then. Okay. I MF doing my life. Like I'm other characters in order to like just do business. Like you have to create a character in life.
Okay.
Like, you got to be. So that's what I do. I MF do my career. But yeah, man, no, it's a pleasure to meet you, and Yatu. And I've seen you guys pop up before on my Facebook feed. So pleasure to meet everybody here.
Pleasure to meet you as well. And BJ.
Nice to meet you as well.
Did I say
Yes.
that right?
You said it correct. My name is Ben Jetta, but I just go by BJ. It just makes sense for people.
Ben Jetta.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a complicated name. I appreciate more complex names.
Right.
Right. And my name seems
Superhero
simple
name.
and straightforward, but I still get it. People still want to make something miraculous out of just these 5 little letters. I'm like, don't do that. It's just Jamie. It's cool. Like, so yeah, me and Benjetta be in these Houston streets having a good time. So before we get started with this conversation, because Mike, you brought up a good point too. Mental health, this is a new discussion, but I love the dictionary. So I wanted to throw out the dictionary definition of mental health, which is a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. And for those who want the breakdown on what psychological means, it's of, affecting, or arising in the mind related to mental and emotional state of a person. Even just reading that, I got to get back to what Mike said. We didn't do all that. It was like, they're crazy. We're done. Like, that's crazy. Crazy was like what we called everybody who, now that I look back, they were probably just going through something. So I'll start with this. When it comes to mental health, what are some of the things that trigger your mental health? What are some of the things that make you be like, "Ooh, I'm not feeling the way I should feel right now"? And I can popcorn it. Anybody can go.
Okay. Well, some of the things that I thought about when we're talking about like some triggers, I think triggers come in different forms. So I'm thinking about people, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, people that are in domestic violence relationships, people who experience trauma, an unhealthy diet, like what you put into your body can trigger like your decline in your mental health. So I really think it's a lot of contributing factors that aid to like your mental health declining. And I think it just happens at different times of your life, depending on what's going on in your life. But definitely your way of being, what you're doing in society is going to always contribute to the decline of your mental health. My take on that.
I think sometimes extreme change toll on people's mental health. A lot of times, difficulty with change management is misdiagnosed as depression. So that's the thing. I think social media is triggering people's mental health.
Yeah.
Quite, in fact, quite a bit. So people are looking at people's highlight reel, and it looks like everybody else is rich, but you and everybody is in a dream relationship with you. And so, yeah, people seem to internalize that and even demonstrate and share, their mental health struggles right on social media.
Right.
I would definitely say what I'm seeing is unresolved trauma, especially unresolved childhood trauma. I notice it a lot in people. I notice what people do when they have unresolved childhood trauma. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a therapist, but I am somebody that people feel comfortable with confiding in. Is they build, instead of going to therapy or talking to someone or even having, sometimes it's hard to have access to therapy or starting their journey of healing, they create coping mechanisms that are unhealthy or habits that are unhealthy. And I think a lot with unresolved childhood trauma, there's a lot of things that can remind you of the things that you went through when you were younger and trigger you, and then you get defensive or you want to get violent or you want to get depressed or whatever it is. So that's something that I definitely see, and this is why I'm such a champion for therapy and talking and just holding space.
Yeah. And Jamie, if I can say just to kind of trigger back on what you're saying, I think it's just that ideal of when you say unresolved childhood trauma. So it's like, you go through life in a way, and then when you grow up, you realize that the way that you were going through life was not actually ideal. And so now you start questioning like everything that you've been taught. And so now it just raises up so many different concerns and different, like your belief system has changed now. And so now you're just all over the place trying to make sense out of this false reality that you was brought up under. And so, and now that you're an adult, like nothing makes sense. And social media, as you guys said, doesn't make it any better. So now we're just kind of like fighting for, okay, like this position in this world that doesn't even really exist to me.
In reality, yes. And, it would be, all of you guys brought up such great points, and I'm right in alignment with all that. So to second all that, and, to your point, Vanjetta, I've been feeling the same way, but I'm glad that I've taken this mental health journey seriously and have been putting effort into it for a while, because as things come up, I'm finding that same thing. I'm like, wow, I created this. I was raised in this reality, or put myself in this space of who I thought I had to be. And every day to this day, I'm like, no, I don't have to do that. Nope. And I'm not, because I can't, and I won't, and I'm tired, and I'm this, and no, I don't feel like it. Before, the old me would never say none of that. It's like, yes, I'm here. I'm picking up. I'm available on this. And I know that sometimes in this day and age, which I want to talk about, we use terms loosely, but I was kind of feeling like, I'm like, do I have PTSD? Because from burnout, from being there, from being on top of it, from being for everyone, I'm just like, now words like hustle, grind, hard work, and some of that, I still get a little triggered. Like, no, I'm not, my body like wants to reject it a little bit, because it's like, it don't got to be all that. Like, let's just find another word for functioning. So I definitely find myself dealing with my own mental health a lot.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. I read a book called Mechanics of the Mind, and it said that, to be noble and righteous and reliable, is a great thing, but it's also binding. And so whether the chains are made of gold or iron, you can still become a slave to it. And so definitely coming up, the most dependable person, the person you can count on, the person you can trust, and then trying to continue that into adulthood until I got burnout. And the first time I went to therapy, I was 23 years old. Voluntarily, my job announced that was included in the benefits. I called the 1-800 number that day.
Come on, job.
That's what's up.
And went right in there like,
Yeah.
man, I don't even think that the people needed me so much. They just got so used to me doing it that it was just like, okay, he's gonna do it. And so yeah, it took some real inner work to pull myself away from that. And even in the beginning, I had to overcompensate. So I almost was like, there was tension and a little bit of beefing in between me and those people because you couldn't wean them off. You had to go cold turkey. So for a while, there was relationship disruption or relationship tension, but ultimately everybody got past it.
Yeah. And there's just that stigma also, that cultural stigma as it relates to, one, even just saying I need help. Two, entering into some form of program or therapy. We used to say that my age group anyway, say, hey man, I'm in therapy. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Nothing has to be wrong for you to be in therapy.
Right.
I know extremely successful people. And you think their life is just perfect, right? They got the big house, because we in society, we think money, means that a person has everything together. And I'll be on the phone with certain people, and we're from different cultures. So I'm like, hey man, what's going on? I'll just come from therapy. Anyway, what's up, man? And I'm just like, that was very nonchalant of you to say it like that, right? And I think that we need to do more work, like even this event in this series that you guys have, shining light and spreading light on World Mental Health Day. and talking about mental health, it helps break down the stigma of even discussing it. Because I am more, I'm not a therapist or a counselor, but I use, as you know, Jamie, my resources to help promote mental health awareness and mental health, and do what I can for mental health equity. And there are still people in our community that are terrified of even talking about it. So I applaud both you and Yatu for holding space.
I'd like to just chime on that a little bit and say that I think people have to really stop looking at therapy as a reactionary tool and start using it proactive
Yeah.
tool. Don't wait till something is wrong. Like,
Mm.
we live in a very fast-paced world, and if you're in this world and you have a little bit of anything going on, you really have probably a ton going on. And so why wait until these traumas and these defense mechanisms are so deep rooted that it takes years and years and years, when you can be managing things and getting things off of your chest and off your spirit, on a weekly basis before things come crashing down. And so I think if the whole world was seeing a therapist once a week and getting a massage once a week, the world might be a better place. Seriously.
Listen, no, I love that you guys brought that up. And to piggyback off that, if we're not proactive about it, are we really going to ever know anything's wrong? Because if we didn't have some of this verbiage and this stuff that we talk about, or any awareness to it, I just would have thought I was fine, when really there was a lot of areas of me that it wasn't fine. But we have been kind of trained to suppress things. So it's like, you may not feel like there's anything wrong with you, but when you get to talking and somebody starts guiding you out the dark a little bit, you start to be like, oh my God, please hold my hand. I didn't know that all this was in here. I wasn't even thinking about it. I've been functioning on this certain level of autopilot. Like, I'm good. I had a friend tell me that. She was like, Jamie, every time I ask you if you're good, if you're not good, you could say. And that broke open a whole thing, because I really just genuinely wasn't used to it. Jamie, how you doing? Oh, I'm good, great. Everything's good. It didn't matter how I was feeling. I didn't acknowledge that, because what? Like, you really want me to tell you that I'm feeling? I didn't have the words. Sometimes I didn't know how to speak about my feelings on my own, because they're feelings. If you don't have verbiage, it's just the way you feel, and you don't know how to communicate that. So yeah, I like the idea of it being proactive, because sometimes you don't know what you need until you have it, because you're not even used to it. You're in this habitual undercurrent. All this stuff is running under the surface, and you're just in this habitual, like, all through the day. And it's like, oh no, I need help. Help me, somebody.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that when people, I was going to say that, like, therapy, I always tell clients or friends when they're coming to me, it's like, we're just here to help you work through your problems. Like, you're really going to do the work for yourself. We're just here to help you navigate things, And I think with that, it's just the idea that if they, like, once you accept the fact, like, okay, hey, I want to talk to somebody, it's like, okay, now I got to do some work. And I think people, that's the part that's scary, is really like doing the real work. And then also feeling like maybe like somebody's going to judge you, but we're not here to judge. We're just here to kind of be like a neutral person to kind of help you work through your stuff. And it's really okay, because like you were saying, Michael, I know so many people, they go to therapy just because they're changing careers or they're moving to another city. It is not because like, oh, I'm feeling depressed or I'm stressed out or the world is just falling apart. It's like, no, like, I need some help to help me figure out how I'm going to transition to this next job or this next location. But I don't think that we as a people, it's that stigma behind it. Like, oh, you talk to somebody, you crazy. But like, where did you get this idea from? But that's how we talk about it. And so people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to be judged by others. So it's uncomfortable, but really a good place to be.
The irony of that is that people are comfortable, talking to their friends and things of that, and family members, and they are definitely judging
all day.
Even if it's not overt and conscious, unconsciously, they're mapping you in the back of their minds, you know, and so it's actually much safer and more effective to talk to somebody who's neutral, who doesn't even know anybody you know, and then two, it's illegal for them to tell anybody the things that you're
Right.
inside
Yeah.
of
And
your
your family's
Yes.
already judging.
Yeah.
Like your family and friends are judging. They know you. They know what you did last week.
Yeah.
And so they're not.
No matter what, either. No matter what, they're like, man, we grew up together, or whatever. It's just something that's ingrained in us. But I think that, you know, it's funny, especially if you're the strong person. Like if you're the strong friend, or the person like me who has I have 3 businesses, and you know, I'm a single dad, and I have a lot on my plate, and I'm like, man, you know, Jamie, you said something about just being on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm on autopilot and I don't even realize that, like, I need a break and I need to talk to somebody, right? So, you know, I luckily have the advantage of, like, most of my friends are therapists.
Nice.
And I actually represent a Black woman-led therapy group called Love and Kindness Wellness Services in Brooklyn. And you know, I get to talk to people on a daily basis that will listen to me. My friends are like life coaches and stuff. So, you know, we'll talk to each other, and I'm like, I really do that? And I'm like, but it's because we are inherently, like, in survival mode all the time, you know, like being in, especially in this economy, and I'm not watching people's pockets or nothing, but as BJ, is that said it right? Okay. You, like, when your finances aren't where you want them to be, let's say it has a huge toll on you psychologically. I don't care if you got $20 in the bank or you got 20 million in the bank. It's just this thing that's this constant going and pushing towards those goals. And this is why you have to have self-care routines. You have to have a space where you can go talk to people. You have to have also outlets that aren't tied to monetary things, right? Like, I just like to go, like, I love the box. I love to do other things. I love motorcycles. None of those things, I don't care, have nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. I have my outlets. So I think that for me is what helped me tremendously this year, is one, routine of talking to people about, you know, just things that, you know, people that are like unbiased, not my like family, having hobbies and things that help me express, getting into nature and helping. So I got all of those things to help me in my toolbox when I'm feeling stressed out. Because, man, Jamie, you know, I work like,
it's insane.
and I'm blessed, and I thank God because I asked for all this. It's just like, how do I manage it, right? And that's where therapy is amazing, because you're going to talk to somebody that's going to check you, but like in a professional way. So I was long-winded. Thank you for letting me ramble.
No, I love it. And I actually want to, you know, expound on a couple of those points, especially when it comes to self-care, because that was one of my questions. You know, self-care to me, even being a woman, seems a little feminized. It's like you see the girls in the spa, and it's like the bath and and not like y'all can't take baths, but I definitely wanted to go over some of the things that men find as valuable self-care when you're balancing out being all the things, being a coach, having 3 businesses, being a single father, it's a lot. So, you know, Mike, you mentioned some of the things, but I'd love to hear from you guys, you know, what kinds of things you guys do for self-care.
So I will take a hot bubble bath with a candle and a joint of cannabis and my little playlist and almost go to sleep in the tub for an hour and relax my mind. Lavender, Epsom salt, lavender bubbles. Man, I get to do it a lot, but it really does relax me. I like biking along the lake front. You know, there's 35 miles of path back and forth. And when you're riding, it's like boats and families on the beach, or pretty women in bikinis and other people working out. So it's very scenic and just almost a getaway.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I named a few things. I'm gonna be sure, but like for what men, like you said, what men do.
Yeah, like some of the stuff that you guys enjoy doing.
Okay, so I had this challenge that I saw on TikTok, y'all. So I can't take credit for it, but they were like for busy people, um, try one hobby a month, a new hobby a month, and that has really like changed me because I took up DJing and I bought like a whole DJ monitor and like certain Sundays or Saturdays, I'll make these mixes. I'm under a different name. I don't care who listens to it. I don't care if I get 5 plays, but music just relaxes me. I get to discover I'm downloading music. I'm not doing any work. I'm not checking my phone, and it just helps me relax. So that's one of the major things that I do.
That's dope.
Oh, that's good. I love that you shared that. I might have to dabble in that because as much as I've gotten better at finding things that help me balance out, there's still a part of me that runs a little panicked under the skin. Like we were talking about before we came on here, like, should I be doing something? Like these things aren't done. And here I am, I'm laying down. Like, don't you think you should get up and check something off the list? And I still have to talk myself out of being over productive. So, but to do a new hobby sounds fun because I got a coloring book in there. I like to write poetry. I find a lot of chill time in the gym, especially when I'm focused. Actually, I was telling myself today, you're going to leave your phone. I know you love the music, but leave your phone when you're in the gym so I can really focus on the workout because it's total body when you want to get the form right. And you can almost feel yourself doing what you're supposed to be doing for your body when you're totally focused on working out. And I love that because my body is capable and I'm gonna be in here for a while and I take pride in it. Like I want to be able to move. I want to be 96 and just being able to, you know what I mean? Get down. So it's this whole thing that I just love about being in the gym. I've been making it kind of a point on Fridays, and if it's not Friday, whatever, but to go to the park and to just put my feet in the grass and stand there. Like I've been seeing birds and squirrels, little squirrel homie that comes through and, just a bunch of nothingness and like choosing the nothingness. And that kind of helps me just get lost in it. And of course, the baths, a good pedicure, they give me wine. Like what? Like kids like Disneyland. I like getting my pedicure with my 2 glasses of red wine. But it helps me so much because when I take me away from me a little bit, by the time I get back to me, things seem to be in file folders just a little bit better.
Yeah, it's funny. Mike said he took up DJing and bought the whole DJ equipment because there's an app, there's a DJ app, and you can do everything on it. And sometimes I DJ whole parties by I'm not even putting it on any platform. I'm just at the crib. I'm hitting the bullhorn, burr, 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 shots, everything. I mean, I'm going off as if it's 1,000 people in here, and it's really just me having fun, living my DJ fantasy at the crib.
I love it.
Let me just say,
I do the same thing as a dance party. Like I'm definitely not Beyonce, but in this house I am. So It is what it is.
I just want to say I didn't know how you guys were going to answer that question, and I'm just like, oh. Always no, it's serious. Like, because if you read about it, like guys, like nobody's really y'all are overlooked as it relates to like your health and your mental health because I guess you guys are supposed to be so strong. But just hearing you say that you take time out for self-care, like you are doing something, like I just commend y'all on that, and hopefully you're like sharing that with other men, like encouraging and like letting them know that it is really okay to just take some time out and just take care of you.
It's a lot of work, though.
Yeah, I feel blessed to have the circle of men that I do because the machismo is out the window. Let me tell you, being the best man you can be all day, every day, 365 days a year, that ain't no easy feat. It's like people poke their chest out and act like it's nothing. No, it's something. It's something. So
I think it's important.
We acknowledge that. We acknowledge the struggles of it. We encourage each other, but allow ourselves to have those honest conversations.
Yeah. And there's a certain level of maturity, like once you get to a certain age, because like back when me and like Jamie was hanging out, like I was like I was Mr. New York. Like
we were both insane. Do you know I had 8
Yeah.
jobs at one point? Like I literally had 8 jobs. I was working 2 jobs with Carl. I was working another job. I had my own. 8. Like you really gonna have 8 jobs?
No sense at all. And the thing is, your escape, mine was. I don't know about you, but it was like alcohol and woman. It was just party, alcohol, woman. That was those 3 things that I did. I was like, I'm stressed out. Let me go get either 3, and none of it led to anywhere. It didn't lead to anywhere. And I finally woke up and snapped out of it. And I said, I need to heal. I need to heal and I need to grow, because though everybody's praising me and they want to be around me, and Jamie, I would walk in a club with 40 people, I had celebrities calling me to get in the clubs, and I thought I was the man. I was just like, oh man, everybody loves me. When that music stopped and everything was over.
The noise, yes. You with yourself.
It was me and Jack Daniels, but even, we got to purchase that. So I think that we as men are finding healthier ways to find how to like decompress.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be anything that, gets you out of your mind. It doesn't have to be, womanizing and going to parties and popping bottles and trying to impress people. Now, we meditation groups, we did we brought 100 men to Fort Greene Park to meditate, and they were all holding hands in a circle. Some of these guys are like 50 years old. They never meditated before. Yeah. And meditation is just focusing on something, right? It's just focus. That's it. But even that, they were a little uncomfortable. You can tell they were just like, yo, what we about to do? Like, all you about to do is just be quiet and concentrate. Like, that's not a big deal. So we're learning these things because they're slowly becoming destigmatized. The rappers are starting to mention mental health. We're starting to see more campaigns and people stepping up because we need that. Our community has been through so much, and a lot of that stuff has not been on us. It has been done to us. But we just figured out how to keep going and be resilient. But sometimes, man, you just need to, like I was on, and I'm going to land the plane very quickly here, I was on vacation in New York, and I was so at peace, I just started crying. But it was happy tears. I'm from New York, so I'm like, why am I'm home and I'm crying? I was in Central Park, and I was like, yo, I'm really at peace in my life. And it felt like just 45 years of just like backed up tears that I've been holding back. But guess what I was doing? I was in the park looking at ducks. Like,
nature will do it to you.
That's it. So finding that joy and that happiness when I want it, being able to access it when I want it, that's the bag right there for me.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you talk about the partying, especially our New York days, like I think about that stuff often. And that was me too. I would just go drink, and I lived by myself. So after that, I had my own little life of the partiness going on about me, and it was live. And then, there'd be times I would go home and I would just cry. I would just cry so much, because it's not that I wasn't happy and I didn't enjoy those things, but I had no idea how to access and work out the sadness I was almost drowning in. And it's crazy because all of the suppressing, this is why I'm a life coach now. This is why I know how powerful processing is, because there's things that I've been through in my life that I probably could have gotten through with a lot less damage to my heart, my mind, my emotions, my body. You just can't be drinking like that all the time. And, all of these things had I processed. Even, before I moved to New York, I had broken off an engagement. And my only thing was like, I'm just gonna work. I got sleepless. I got this. I'm about to get it in. And I was just bowling over it until one day I was like, oh my God, I'm sad. Like I've been dragging this little broken heart around everywhere. And as long as it took for me to even realize I was heartbroken, I had to look at the relationships I was in while I was heartbroken. Like, of course it didn't work, girl. You are not okay. Okay. You're cute. You're fun. I get it. But you're not okay. So I'm such a big fan of the second I'm getting something or feeling something or feeling a way, taking a moment to examine. And I'm so happy that I've kind of put a bunch of tools in my little box that I know I could fire off at any time, because it doesn't have to be a whole therapy session at once, but sometimes I'll have a thought or I'll feel away and I'll be like, oh, what was that? Let's just breathe. We good? Like, what is that? And it's just helped me so much, not just carry this, Erykah Badu, pack light. I'm out here trying to run a marathon with Tim's and a pair of jeans on. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I think we all been through that though, whereas we just kind of do a lot of crazy and wild things. And I think it's just like a mask, like a defense mechanism that we put on and we carry so that we don't have to deal with reality. Because I mean, there's been many of times where I was just like, okay, like I'm wilding out of control. I'm all over the place. And I don't necessarily see myself like falling. And I remember one of my girlfriends saying, Benjetta, like you need to just chill, pause. And it was in a moment of me being like in a crisis where I just really could not move. And I realized in that moment, like, oh, okay, girl, like, the therapist needs therapy.
Yes.
So I was like, okay. But it literally took somebody else that was watching me. So, like having this out of body experience, somebody is watching me like self-destruct here. And so I was like, okay. So I've learned like through when we talking about like self-care and it's like reflecting, like pausing to think about like how I'm feeling and like and seeing if that energy match what's going on in my moments that I'm living. So I was like, okay, let's regroup, let's reset, let's get it together, let's pull it together. But it does not have to be at a fast pace. So it's like a process. I don't have to take it fast. Like I'm not in a hurry, So and I had to learn, for me, like learning how to slow down and focusing and keeping yourself strong and balanced and not going on the pace of like everybody else around me. I think somebody said something about being strong. When you're the strong person, everybody kind of feels like, okay, you got it together, you're gonna bounce back real quick. But that's not always the case. And so imagine somebody, me in my position, you're the therapist, so you're supposed to know, like you need to use your own therapy on yourself. Oh, it doesn't work like that. Like I'm a human. At the end of the day, I'm a person, I'm a human. I'm experiencing life just as well as everybody else is experiencing life. And sometimes I have to just slow down. I have to slow down my pace and just kind of walk through some things. And sometimes that walk looks a little bit different. So I think we all have our moments where we just kind of do some stuff that we're not very pleased of. And we're just kind of masking, covering up everything that's going on in the inside. Like, I want to cry, but no, let's turn up.
Yeah.
Yeah, listening to all three of you share your testimonies, it just reminded me that many Black people respond to the trauma that's been exacted upon us by being overly productive and trying to get that. We feel like getting rich will heal our pain, and it does not.
It doesn't.
It actually makes it worse.
Yeah, I saw, I believe it was Wallow. He's like crying. They got $100 million deal for their podcast, and he's crying. They like, what's wrong? And he like, man, I thought $100 million, like at the snap of the fingers, just everything was gonna be fixed and right and da-da-da. And he like, it's all the same. I just got $100 million.
It's like
nothing. It didn't heal nothing. It didn't.
My business partner said that to me. One of my silent business partners who invested in my consultancy. He was like, yeah, I'm going to keep it real with you. He was like, having money makes things worse sometimes because people don't no longer see you as a human with human problems. They see you as a resource or a bank. So you could be like, man, I'm having a horrible day. They're like, oh man, yeah, anyway. So yeah, man, about that thing. And it just like sort of overlook it because they're just like, well, you were strong enough to become, successful. You can't have any real problems. Only I have real problems. And This is why you have to have your group of people that can identify with you, even on a lifestyle level, as you grow. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing for me. My business partners and the businesses I'm involved in, I've known some of these people for 13, 14, 15 years, and we've grown together as men and women. And they're starting to get families now, right? And I've always been the first one to have kids because I'm older. And I'm like, well, brother, let me talk to you. If you need help, you know, because having kids is a lot. I got a 20-year-old in college. I know, like, let me know if you need help. I can give you some advice. So I'm here to help my friends journey through life. And I think that that's the type of friend that I know that's the type of friend that I want to be. I don't want to just be the friend that's like, hey, will you go with me to a place to drink myself and help me forget about my problems and go chase these women or da-da-da. That's the old me. Mm-hmm. Now it's about accountability. Like if you're not taking care of yourself and I call myself your friend and I'm not calling you out on your ish, then I suck as a friend because I'm not going to sit back and watch you destroy yourself or your marriage or your relationship or your business. I'm going to call you on it. So that's even support. That's even support there. That's mental health help because mental health is not always about, sitting with somebody in a therapist's office. It's not. It's about making sure that the circle around you is supportive to your growth and also calls you out on things that are not going to lead you down a negative path. And I had to curate that circle. I let go of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I still love you, but you're not good for my mental health. You know what I'm saying? So
wow,
intentional relationships mean everything.
You know what? You said that, and I gotta say this. So I always say this, like you gotta know who your people are. Like, and so I think when we talk about the stigma, it's because we don't know who our people are. Sometimes we overshare. So it's like Jamie was saying, saying to somebody who may not understand anything about like mental health, mental illnesses, or anything, you say, I'm not okay. And they looking at you sideways, like, what? What you mean you're not okay? I just saw you over here on the podcast. Oh, y'all was just out, turning up. So then you realize very quickly, like, okay, that's not my person. I probably should have held that and told somebody else that could hold space for me in that way that I was not okay. And I think sometimes that's where we go wrong. It's kind of like we sometimes overshare with people that are not our people, who don't understand, and we want them to understand, and they're not coming from the same place that we're coming from. So it makes it very difficult. So what then happens is that the next time you're with your person, and you don't want to share because now you're afraid that if you say I'm not okay, they're going to respond to you in the same way that the other person who wasn't your person responded to you. So I think it's really important just really paying attention, and also like narrowing your circle and figuring out like who really have my best interest at hand, And that takes some time because a lot of times we want people who don't necessarily care or understand or don't have the capacity to do that to be in this little circle or this little bubble with us, and they really need to be compartmentalized over here. And it's okay. It's okay that they don't get it, but you can get it from over here and it's just as good. But sometimes we want it from people who can't necessarily give it to us.
They don't have the skill set.
Right.
The tools. And you can't get mad at that. I got a family member like that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, let's just go get a drink. I'm like, damn. Like, we talking about some serious ish right now. Like, I agree with you. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to say that because I'm listening to you share that, and that's important to have a solid foundation of a circle that you can feel comfortable with sharing. Like today is not a good day, and they not look at you like, well, why is it not a good day? Because it's not a good day.
Yeah.
Like, why is that wrong to say that it's not a good day?
I think a lot of people misunderstand mental health to the point where they think they can fun it away, right? They haven't evolved and then understand mental health. So they're like, we're going to fun this away. We're going to go do it like how we used to. And tomorrow everything is going to be better. That is not.
It's not better.
Yeah, that's not how that
Yeah,
works.
brunch ain't
A lot
going.
of people surround themselves with enablers.
Yeah.
Let's just go to brunch.
Right. Drink mimosas.
Yeah.
Right. Baby, I took 5 mimosas. The pain is still there. Right?
It's there. Not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. And I love that you brought that up because I think, Benjetta, some of this comes with like you have to learn how to do that. I'm learning how to do it. I'm in so many recent situations where I'm like, okay, but I had to take, first of all, I had to take my own inventory and understand what that means and really actually honor my feelings. Because again, when we're just functioning on autopilot or we're the strong ones or we're used to being there, sometimes you don't have time to acknowledge your feelings. It's like, okay, a feeling, but this needs to be done. And you get, now I'm just like, oh, wait, that was a feeling. Why do I feel like that? What is going on? And it really helped me minimize offense because I mean, I'll mess around and get mad. Like, I just shared with you what you say to me. Like, and it's like, wait, you can't get mad at somebody who doesn't understand and there's no need to cut them off or judge them in return or whatever. The whole point is I had to learn who I could share with and who I couldn't. And it's become such a major thing in my life, but everything is much more seamless. And, you know, I'm the type of person, you know, me and Mike, we've been talking about it this whole time, how we used to be outside. I was the girl with 1, 2, 3, 400 numbers in my phone. You walk in, I know everybody. I'm the one throwing the events, community, all of this. But it's like, you know, I would say recently is kind of like my tail end of it because, you know, everything that happened with Coco, I call it Coco 19. It just changed things and it slowed me down. And I was like, okay, well, okay, first of all, I'm tired. Second of all, not everybody belongs in my front row. Like, third of all, if I'm really going to cultivate relationships that support my mental health, we got to be able to see each other. Like when I say something, certain people that really know me, they know what I'm saying without me saying the full whatever, because you know me, I know you. And when I used to watch church stuff back in the day, TD Jakes, he was like, you can only be a good friend to like 5 people. There's nothing wrong with having, you know, acquaintances and friends and love for people and all this. But if I'm really going to show up for you, you know, because I have a core, I fly out when it's your baby shower, I fly out for I can't do that for everybody I'm associated with. So I had to narrow it down, make it make sense. And, you know, my core, I'm there, I'm this, I'm that. And this is something else I wanted to ask you guys. So being that we're kind of talking about being the strong friend, understanding mental health to a capacity where we have our own tools, do you guys feel like you've gotten to a space where you can see how to fill in the blanks for others? Do you feel like you can hear what others aren't saying and be the type of friend and person that you kind of want in your life to support mental health as well?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love it.
Absolutely. I have great friends and I am intentional about being a good friend myself. And I genuinely care. I'm an empath. I'm a cancer man. I am fully in touch with my
Watery.
emotions. And so therefore, yeah, no, absolutely. And my friends, we like for real know, it's been 30 years, so we for real know each other. You know what I mean? I had a situation where a person came and tried to tell me a story about what my friend said, and I said, he didn't say that.
That ain't him.
He don't even talk like that.
Mhm.
Like, so tell me what he really said. And then he told me what he really said, and I'm like, now that sounds like my friend. But I didn't even have to call him and ask him, did you say he doesn't even talk like that? Stop it.
Stop.
Yeah, I definitely feel, you know, I've been working in mental health since 2016. And in 2016, you know this, I started a men's group.
Mm-hmm.
And it grew to about 100 members. It was like a membership-based men's group. And we did everything from wellness events to finance events and just really, you know, wanted to create an inclusive environment for all men who were going through life's trials and tribulations and just trying to, you know, create that community. Doing that helped me really understand men. It really understand it, but more importantly, it helped me understand women. Because I was like, oh, this is what y'all complaining about. Because these right? And instead of judging, because for like a year or 2 years, I was frustrated, right? But it helped me really understand how to be a better listener and how to communicate more effectively, right? And that was the thing that has helped me actually become a better friend, is working with so many men and listening to their stories, their fears, their passions, calling them out on their bullshit. That was the point where I was like, yo, okay, I leveled up. I should have actually been a counselor, because like everybody's coming to me with their problems, which is fine. But
we need guys.
yeah, I learned.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love that so
it's
much.
crazy. It got to the point where I couldn't go to a regular barbershop anymore, because, like he was saying, the conversations and the confessions, it's like I couldn't take it. I couldn't even continue to be in the same room with these cats every week. That they were, men confessing to being child molesters and rapists and just retards. Like he said, sometimes you be like, I see why women are so frustrated. Like, you know what? I can't blame them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are
Bro,
you serious?
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, I couldn't even now, maybe somebody can come in the last 3 minutes of my cut, or if when I come in, he's, popping the hair off of that guy. But sitting in a barbershop full of people having conversations, I can't take it. I couldn't take it anymore.
A lot of men.
I was in the barbershop downtown Chicago, like celebrities, everything.
Yeah.
Worse.
And
a lot of men cause their own problems, by the way.
Of course.
And so, Jamie, I was going to say, like, for me, I take a different approach. And maybe because I do the work every day, like, I just meet people where they are. And I also leave them where they are. So when my
and being okay with that, I'll meet you here and I'm gonna leave you here.
Like, I don't want my friends telling people, "Hey, she's a mental health professional," or she do. No, because it just opens up so much. But as it relates to my friends, like I definitely can see when they're off. And I may like do a little check-in, but I'm very mindful not to overstep like my boundaries or my place with them. So I kind of let them kind of lead and be like, hey, it's something you want to talk about. But if not, I just kind of leave it there. But if people come to me too much, I do just kind of be like, you know what, hey, I can really refer you to somebody if you feel like you need to talk to someone, because I'm really not trying to like be all for everybody. I want you to go out and seek the help that you need. Like, because getting it from me is one thing, but I feel like I think that's the easy way out sometimes. Like, I need you to go and call your EAP, get your free therapy services, or let me give you a referral, because talking to me all the time, I don't really think that that's always like the best option for them, because I feel like I still know you personally, and I know they come to me like, okay, but you should know because you're the therapist here. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, but I'm gonna refer you to somebody. But if it's something like really serious, and I'll take some time and like, okay, let's talk about it, let's have a conversation. But I don't ever want my friends to feel like, because I get that a lot, I don't want my friends to feel like I'm like looking at them like, what's going on? That I'm looking for something when I'm not. And I want them to be comfortable when they come to me. So I tend to like to refer out. I'm like, let me give you somebody to talk to. Go and do the work. But we can have the hard conversations, but let's go and do the work too. On yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm a combination of all that, because like you and Yatu, I found myself being a little more sensitive about who I'm around, and then mixed with what you're saying, BJ, like you can't save everybody. Like just the stuff I say, I feel like I'm most impactful in my beingness, and the level of my conversations, if we're gonna go down that road, are generally because it's a we thing. Like, girl, this is the revelation I had today. Like, do you, whatever. But I think you know, because Mike, just like you in 2016, I started searching too. This is when I started like the women's circles and we started doing these retreats. And this is when I started King Speak. Cause I was like, okay, I'm doing this dating and, you know, I'm doing these women's circles and all this. And now men are in my DM, like, what you gonna do for us? And I was like, oh, y'all want something? Y'all want to hear? Like, y'all want to be in a circle and pull cards and do what we're doing? So I was just so confused, but it just really helped me kind of really just see everybody as human. Like when we stop separating so much, yes, men and women are different. I'm gonna stand on that. But when we invite in the human factor, it does, I feel like, heighten your sensitivity where you can tell somebody's off, or you can tell if somebody needs something, or you can tell when it's time to be quiet, or when, you know, whatever you need to do. But I just feel like really being able to see people as just humans, men and women, opened me up a lot more instead of separating so much like men do this. Because I don't feel like we had or still have. This is why me and Nyata, we do Black Love Lens, because we'll full on be saying something and the way it hits the ear is like, what? And now it's contention. And it's like, okay, if we can find the baseline of humans, how we feel, how we think, what we're really saying, I feel like it gives us a chance to tap in where it makes things a little bit easier, meaning you can see when somebody needs something and when they don't, and when to leave them alone, and when to hold space, when to just listen, when to, because you know what it feels like. It might be a man, but I know what it is to feel overwhelmed or like nobody's listening or tired or whatever these things are, because these are human things. So that just helped me make it easier, because before that, I was really like, oh, men don't have emotions. I ain't never seen them. Like, besides, like, what do you mean? They don't feel anything. They be bouncing from chick to chick. They let stuff like they work. I really couldn't comprehend, like, what do men's emotions look like?
It's hard to have any emotions because you're raised to provide, protect, and absorb, right?
Oof.
So you have to do those three things. You have to provide, make that money, whether that's yourself or your family or whatever. Protect. You gotta, know how to fight. You gotta know how to protect your family, and absorb. And when I mean absorb, is just take on all the shit that life throws at you and absorb it like a sponge. But a lot of us don't understand is that we don't have to just absorb. That's why you got to have your therapy. You got to have your outlets. You got to have your self care techniques in your toolbox. You got to have outlets to wring that shit out, because it's rough out here as a man, especially as a man of color. I mean, you're gonna go to war, sometimes just to be successful, right? Just to be successful. I have to work 10 times as hard as my counterparts, and sometimes it can take a toll on you. But the number one thing that we have to understand is that just because we're having a rough day, we can't take it out on the people that we love. We can't take it out on strangers, because that stuff is going to come back to you, whether that's in the form of your health, bad health, and that's physically, mentally, spiritually. And I see it all the time. I live out here in Georgia, and there's certain communities I go to. All you see is just older men living alone. Crotchety, angry. They chased everybody away from them because life was hard and they didn't know how to deal with it. Have accountability with that, and get the tools necessary. Learn how to express yourself better. Learn how to deal with the trials and tribulations. You know what I'm saying? That life is going to throw at you without drinking yourself into a coma, taking it out on your lady, your loved ones, or your whoever your partner. And once you do that, you become king, in my opinion. You become king because you know how to control your emotions. And I'm telling you, my friends are extremely successful, right? And the number one thing that has made them successful was emotional intelligence, learning how to communicate, even under fire. Like people yelling at them and they're sitting there like this, keeping their composure, because they're strategizing in their mind how they're going to handle the situation. And they always come out on top and they always win, right? So that's just my take on it. Is now that I have those tools in my toolbox, I can handle anything. I'm telling you, like and I say this, and I'm joking when I say this, but I'm a gangster with that now. Like
That's the kind of gangster we want you to be out here.
yeah, things pop up. I had a 12 today, a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 5. And then I had to get my kids to bed. Then I had to do this, right? Like this is like, I was looking at that. I was like, how I'm gonna handle it like a gangster. I'm gonna make sure that I eat well. I'm gonna make sure that I get enough sleep the night before. I'm gonna work out first of all, take care of myself in the morning. So you have your things that you do in order to make sure that you show up the best version of yourself every day. It's not gonna happen every day, but at least you're setting a high bar for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Versus like, today's gonna suck. Well, if you said that, there's words of power, then it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Big facts, big facts. To add on to what you said, Michael, you know, as Black men, we have a lot that we can be mad about. And but that is the number one tool to trick us and to defeat us, is to have us in a constant state of frustration and anger. And I can probably attribute any and every regrettable decision I've ever made or action I've ever made in my life, trace it back to some frustration. I lost my patience with the situation. I lost my form. And so, you know, to Michael's point, you know, that is a true sign of a leader, to never lose your form, you know, having this self-mastery. And so I'm excited to say, and simultaneously embarrassed to say, I think I was first introduced to the concept of emotional intelligence in my 30s. How powerful would it have been had I learned about this when I was 13 or 14 years old? You know, I remember the Roots in a song saying, you know, you scream, keep it real, but you should try keeping it right. And so sometimes in some social circles in the Black community, they encourage pettiness and encourage a lack of emotional intelligence, and you know, create a false sense of respect around people who exercise no emotional intelligence, to the detriment of those individuals and the detriment of our community as a whole. Because, you know, if young people are seeing people in their 30s and 40s and 50s, you know, acting a fool and demonstrating no emotional intelligence in the name of keeping it real, there's no motivation for the young people to, you know, behave any differently. In fact, it's going to be a contest. It's a challenge. Right?
Who's gonna be the biggest fool?
Yeah, they're gonna do whatever you doing to the 10th power.
I can do it bigger than you.
Yeah, so you don't want to be angry and frustrated all the time. You will not make great decisions. And so emotional intelligence takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know.
I'm sorry.
No,
I was
go ahead.
just going to say, being a father is how I really found my emotional intelligence. And then that is how I found my emotional intelligence in romantic relationships. Because I was like, if I can do this with my son, why can't I do it with my lady or in my relationships? And I was like, okay, the motivation wasn't the same. But when I saw the importance of being totally emotional, I mean, perfect emotional intelligence with my son, that was so important. And I can say that after a point, that's just what it was, you know, this is so crucial that I can't afford not to be emotionally intelligent. I can't afford not to be patient. I can't afford to deal with him from a place of frustration ever, at all. Everything has to be calculated. So important for his survival and his ability to thrive. Because I have a 21-year-old, right? So our sons are close in age with that, Mike. But I wanted to add that piece.
And I love that so much. I love that I have such good Black men in my life, because you can get, me and BJ, we're both single. We can get online too, and things can look a certain way. And we've been through our share of stuff just because that's how life goes. But just to know that men are contemplating things and working on things. And I love what you said about the emotional intelligence, because, you know, we come across people that are just, they have so much pride for their kids. And that's great. But like, what about me? You got to be regulated with me too. Like, I can't be off the plate when it comes to that. And I get it. Like, your bloodline, it's important. But at the end of the day, like you said, being emotionally intelligent became a non-negotiable. And that's really for you, because it's the way you are going to show up at work with the man who's acting up, with the woman who's doing this, the bus driver, whoever. And to be able to have that in your toolbox, to be able to respond accordingly for you, and because your son is watching, and if you're single, a lady might be watching, or just your woman being proud of the man that she's with. It's all about your function. And I love men who take pride in their function, because I can't make you do that. As much as we love you, we can't make you do that. And it can be challenging, but it's not impossible, as you can see.
We have a question on the screen.
We do. We had a question on the screen. So, Mike, you had said when
Yeah.
y'all was talking about the barbershop,
Mhm.
what does he mean by men causing their own problems? I thought this would be a good time to address that.
And I'll address that. Look, man, I've worked with men since, like I said, I started a men's group, and all types of men, from every background imaginable. I've been a president of a motorcycle club. I was a former amateur mixed martial arts fighter. I've been around men all my life, a lot. Some of the most dangerous, some of the most intelligent, it doesn't matter. And what I've found is a lot of our brothers out there lack personal accountability. We know that you already know that the world is going to throw all these obstacles at you. As I see the other thing he wrote, the abundance of obstacles aimed at harming and hindering Black men.
I want to bring that in. It goes hand in hand.
So we know that, and we recognize that. Not all of us. If you have elders, if you have people in your community that love you, are going to be like, look, there's a place for you. If you lose your control, you pull out a weapon, or you do something crazy, there's a place for you. It's called prison. All right. And they're waiting for you, and they're going to make money off of you being in prison. Right. The story is old as gold, man. Like, none of this is new. The obstacles are there. A lot of us are working to remove those obstacles. But while those obstacles still exist, we unfortunately have to have more accountability for our actions than, let's say, our white counterparts. And that does not mean hide who we are or our identity. It's just that we got to move really intelligently. And one thing Jamie said, right, is if you have kids, your son is watching you. He's watching how you handle conflict resolution. So if somebody bumps into you, what's up, nigga? Da, 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 da. Right? Not saying all Black men do that. I'm not saying it. There's Black men every Black man ain't street. But we have to have more personal accountability when it comes to ourselves, our families, our kids. This is what it is. Nobody's coming to help. And there was this doctor who said, white folks don't care about what you're doing. They don't care about the issues and the problems that exist in our community. I literally work in the system in New York City, and you have no idea how much they cut the budgets for programs that help Black and brown youth. Helping Black and brown youth. Like, nobody cares. So we have to care for each other. That starts with personal accountability. How I show up to his home is going to be a reflection on me. It's going to be a reflection on my mother, how she raised me, my father, how he raised me. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that, I'm not putting all the problems on Black men. But dude, if you want to be a grown man out here with a family, a business, or a great job, or to be successful, man, accountability is key, man. What could I have done differently in order to, how could I have handled the situation differently? How could I have, showed up better for myself and for my community? So everybody in my circle is accountable. There was a brother today, and that's fine. That's fine, Travis. There was a brother today who did not show up to a meeting that he was supposed to show up to. And instead of saying, oh man, I know the brother has all these obstacles, blah, blah, blah. No, he has to be accountable. He has to be accountable for his actions, because it's a reflection on us as a community and as a team. And we're trying to do things to remove those obstacles from the community. You got to show up. And if you don't show up, at least communicate. That's accountability, right? So that's all I'm saying. I'm not putting everything on us. I'm just saying that we just got to move. And you know this, and we have to move differently, unfortunately. And that's intelligently and be accountable. So that's all I wanted to impart.
I like to add to that. I looked at the choice of wording that Dr. Travis used, and he said, putting too much responsibility, without acknowledging so much of what is going against us. And it is tremendous, and I understand that we have to be careful when we so-called make it, because while everybody does need to be working as hard as they can to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, the system is designed to let a few through so that they can say, see, if all of y'all worked hard, if all of y'all weren't lazy criminals that want to kill each other, you would have this too. And so that is by design as well. And so, while I'm very comfortable with blaming the white systematic American way for the way things are, but I understand responsibility, and we are responsible for our results. So, I'm not going to be blaming the white system from a prison cell.
Right.
I'm going to be blaming it from prospering and continuously wiggling through, and it's tiring, man. Like I said earlier today, like 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Oh my God, it's like we got to do this forever. Sometimes I sit on my couch like, and so this is never going to stop, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, this is like day in and day out, get it in, and I'm blessed that I don't have half the problems that some of my counterparts do, but I don't forget that. I don't ignore that. And I try to always acknowledge that. And so thank you, Dr. Travis, for holding us not accountable, but capable of doing both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And thank you, Dr. Travis. I appreciate you for sharing. And he put some other stuff up there. And like I said, I work with youth. I've started nonprofits for youth. They have a lot working against them, even from a pop culture standpoint. So that's why I said, when I say move differently, that doesn't mean move like a white man. That's nothing that I said there. I said, it's just making sure that you respect yourself and you be accountable for your own actions. That's moving differently than what the pop culture is trying to push on young black men to be gangsters and all this stuff. So, I mean, I though we may disagree on some things, well, I don't disagree with you. I thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah. And all I want to say to that is that I think the things that you're saying and we're sharing as it relates to the black man, we need to be responsible. Like, we need to have emotions. Like, we have to show up. We have to set boundaries. Like, those are, like, to me, are ways of being that, to me, no matter what our struggles are or how we differentiate from another culture or ethnicity, it's like, it doesn't change the fact that we still have to do the basic things, and that is like showing up, being accountable, having emotions, taking care of business. We can't escape that, no matter what kind of cards we were dealt, we still have to do those things. To me, that's like the basis of our essence, of how we have to be in this world. I mean, we're not responsible, then what are we? If we're not emotional, what are we? If we're not considerate, then what are we? If we're not showing up and holding each other accountable, then what are we doing?
Yeah, and to piggyback right off that, because that's what I was thinking. I always bring my dad into this, but I was raised by a 20-year retired Marine. Like, my dad grew up in the South. He's been shot at. He's been through all the, all of the stuff that black men go through, but yet never in our household was it a conversation about the system and, the white this and this and that, because to me, we can't afford to think that way. Now, I know it happens, but the thoughts that we hold in our mind and the strong emotion we feel against the things that happen, I feel like sometimes exacerbate the problem. And not to say exacerbate it like it's not real and it's not a big problem, but I don't want something like that to govern my life. I am a woman, and I'm a black woman, and I'm there's all of these things, but because I'm about self-mastery and because I take accountability and I'm responsible for my life, I go out here with my head high. Like, what?
Straight up.
I get it. So if you got, I'm gonna make this work for me because I can, and I'm determined to do it. And I wish a person's skin color or a situation or whatever would deter me from the greatest life that I deserve to live. So not to say it's not hard. There's a lot of different things that Black men go through. There's a lot of different things Black women go through. I mean, I've been through stuff with my hair and dealing with certain Black men or certain corporate or certain, like, we all have our struggles, but I think the rebel in me is like, oh yeah, we're not doing this. You're not gonna take me out because y'all feel this way. Not to say ignore it, but I have to take responsibility for my life, and that's all I got. I'm the only person I can control. So I don't know.
I think the conversation needs to be had, but it just needs to be had from a certain perspective, which is how to work around it and how to manipulate it, not just sitting around complaining about it. But if you don't warn, I can't speak for the women, but if you don't warn young men, there are traps. They got traps out here for young Black men, and so certainly, if we can impart some knowledge on how that can work against you and how not to get caught up in that. Like, even in my 40s, I had an experience where the manager of a restaurant right in Hyde Park, where I grew up and went to school all my life, he really tried to provoke me, and then we had to get the police involved. And when the police got there, they tried to provoke me too. And there was a young lady that was with me. And after it was all said and done, it worked out the way that I wanted it to work out. But I wanted to go on Smack Fest 2000, whatever year it was. But I knew that I was going to go to jail. I knew that if I did not maintain total emotional intelligence, total zen, I was going to jail, even though I was totally in the right 100%. But that young lady was like, she was like, I just have so much respect for you in this moment right now, because they tried everything they could to make you raise up, and you just would not let them play that game with you.
And there's that other thing where you do what works for you, right? Do what works for you. There is not a one-size-fits-all strategy for all of us. Do what works for you. If you want to lead a certain way like this, that's fine. I got friends that rather just lecture all day versus show up. Those are those people, but they're needed too, because they have information that I could use that can help me do my job better. Because I'm the guy behind the scenes trying to get money to fund social programs for Black and brown youth. And it's hard. I'm fighting against politicians. I'm fighting against budget cuts. And I have to maintain composure. I have to be accountable. So do what works for you, I think. You know what I'm saying? That's always my suggestion. We are not one, I was talking to this white woman, and she was like, why can't you Black people, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, do you think I just got all the Black people in the world on speed dial?
Ma'am.
Having meetings, hey, Black people, this is what you have to do now because this white woman wants you to do it. No, that's, we're not just one, one voice. We have different opinions about things, and that's fine. It's fine to disagree, and it's fine to agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's life experiences takes them in different places. So I pretty much have one more question, one for the guys, one for the girls. We're at an hour 20. Y'all good? You down for another question?
Yeah, sure.
I can do one more.
Okay. So I wanted to. So thank you for all of that and for sharing all of that. Okay. So when it comes to romantic relationships and platonic, but we hear men say all the time, we want women to be our piece and this, that, and the other. And I know there's some truth to it. So what are some ways that women can contribute to a man's mental health?
So I really think that when men say that, what they really mean to say is,
Yeah, what's
Don't
the
disturb
decode?
my peace. Right? Don't be.
Be
What does that
easy,
look
brother.
like?
Be easy.
What does that
Don't
look
be
like?
the.
Don't this out easy.
This is
Don't be
this is
the.
a safe zone.
Don't be the antagonizer, the button pusher, the compulsive complainer. You know, yeah. Don't disturb the peace. Is what I believe that they mean. But feminine energy can create a sense of peace. If I love a woman, that she can touch on me and talk to me in a certain way, and I don't even mean sexually, but touch on me and talk to me in a way that can calm the beast, in a way that, you know, maybe in some ways nobody else really could. You know, during the pandemic, I guess people were frustrated, but I was in a relationship with a woman in California, and we were going on these hikes every day, and we went in some store, and she came out before me, and the guy who was outside like said something to her, and she didn't tell me until we jumped in the Uber to go back, or whatever the case may be, and I was looking for him the next day because I wanted to confront him. And she just was like, what about me? I have to live, you know, she just said like two sentences to me, and I just was, you know, I let it, in that moment, totally let it go. But so yeah, use your feminine energy. You know, a woman could express her frustration with a man for not taking out the garbage, or she could tell him how, you know, when he handles the little things around the house, it really makes her want to do the things he likes. You know, and it's just
It's
conversation.
good.
You know, a lot of people think foreplay is just physical, but there's a lot of mind sex that people could be having, and it's enjoyable for both sides. And so, yeah, just harmonious. You know, some people, unfortunately, childhood trauma make them think that relationships have to be chaotic, that if you don't always have your foot on somebody's neck, that, you know, you're being a sucker or you're being weak and things of that nature. But what do I always say, Jamie? It's okay to love your partner. It's okay to be nice, to be kind to your partner. It's okay to be loving towards your partners.
Yeah.
You might get something great out of it.
Right?
I
Fact.
approve this message.
That part.
Yeah. I'm, you know, brother, you just, man, I mean, you kind of just
Said it all.
My man said, what was the thing you just said? You said about foreplay. There's people think foreplay is just about,
It's just
Physical.
man, brother. You dropped the gem. But I was trying to hit the air horn, but I forgot I wasn't deep enough. That was deep, bro. I learned a lot, you know, just from that comment. But you know, I think that on my side, I'm 45 and I'm in the best relationship I've ever been in my life. It took me 44 years. Well, I met her 2 years ago, but it took me this long to actually find somebody that just knows how to communicate with me well. And I think for me to be my peace, I don't really kind of use that language because I
Yeah.
don't really have to with her. She's just naturally my peace. I think it's the way this woman communicates with me. It's like it's empowering, it's concerning, like she knows how to show concern, because I don't do argumentative people, and I don't do people that I don't surround myself or date women that I have to be combative or defensive around. I don't even have friends like that. And that's that to me, that's a, you know, it's a gaslighting thing. I'm trying to challenge you. No, it's, look, if stress is the number one killer, you stressing me out. What is that?
Stressing me out.
You're a killer.
Yeah,
So,
murderer.
yeah, murder. So, yeah, of course, I'm exaggerating to a degree, but I think it's learning a person's communication style.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can learn a person's communication style, then that just brings so much peace. Because when I have good news to say or share, she's the first person that I tell. Because I know she's good. She's like, hey, good, baby. No. I'm like, yeah, I feel like the man. I feel good. And, you know, that taps into my masculine energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's it for me. Just communication is super key.
Well, congratulations, brother. I'm happy.
I know, I love it.
Yeah,
Because you done been through some things.
man. I mean, listen, people need to stop fronting. Relationships can be very difficult, right? I haven't met one person that hasn't had at least one messed up relationship in their life. We're just human, having a human experience. And I say I wasn't going to be bitter after I got out of my last situation. I was going to be better. What can I change about myself? I had to be accountable. Hope that doesn't make anybody mad, but I had to be accountable for the actions that I took. I had to be accountable that I put myself in a position with somebody who moved like this. What did I do in the last thing? What can I fix? So I'm doing everything different in this relationship because I had to hold myself accountable and do a lot of self-reflection. So that's it for me. Communication is key.
I'm so proud of you for that because a lot of people, we throw the word accountability around, but accountability is your power. You're the only person you can control. And whether you like it or not, relationships are mirrors. And there was something about, and it's for all of us, what we didn't like, but we chose it, we engaged in it, we stayed in it, we made a thing out of it. So if you're not willing to ask yourself why, no matter how effed up that person is or what they did, it's like, how on earth are you going to move forward without saying, why was I cool with that for so long? Why did I sit there day after month after year and commit to this? What is it in me? And start to ask the questions. Then how do you get to, this space or, so I love that. I love to hear it. So then obviously on the other side, BJ, what are some things that men can do to contribute to women's mental health?
All right. Okay.
You got the mic.
I do. So, I mean, it's not a lot. So, only thing that I thought about was just number one, just being able to listen and be open. I think men are like fixers. So, they're always in fix it mode. And sometimes, like, we don't want to be fixed. Like, we don't want you to fix the problem. We just want you to listen and just hold the space. So, and I also feel like if, just having a man just try to understand like how we're feeling, like the place that we're coming from. Because I know that sometimes we can be all emotional and all over the place and very dramatic. Because I know I'm very dramatic. But what I'm saying in that moment is really important. And I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to just listen to me. Like, let me just get it out. Let me just get it out and then just hold that space with me. And then, just affirm what you hear me saying. Like, let me hear you say it back to me. Like, Vinjetta, I hear you feel this way. And it just makes me feel so much better. And it's like to say what you guys were saying, and it makes me want to show up for the men in a way that's going to make him feel at peace. Because I just feel like, I don't know, like when we go to a man to have a conversation, it's like, I think the first thing you guys do, and I'm not speaking for you in general, but I'm just saying, I think most men, they just go into fixing mode. Okay, so there's a problem and I need to fix it. But you really didn't hear a problem. Like, you heard me venting about a situation. And so it's like, just listen, like, just hear me out. Even if it sounds corny, just be an active listener and just be open. And then I think too, to give guys advice to help women in their mental health, it's like, if you want to be a fixer, that's fine. But I think to help you, just ask the question. Once we go on this venting, phase, just say, so do you want me to just listen? Or do you actually want me to say something back today? Would you like me to respond to that? And then she's going to tell you, oh, baby, no, I just wanted you to listen. And so it just makes everything so much better. But I think it's just all about just following up. You don't have to fix. We're not looking for you to fix everything. We just want you to hold the space and just listen and just be there and be present with us and let us fall into your arms. And then let's end the night and have a beautiful day. But that's my day. So it's just simple. Listen, don't try to fix anything. Don't try to fix the problem. Hold the space and just try to understand where we're coming from. That's it. That's my take on that. That helps my mental health daily. If I can get that.
I love that. I love it so much. It's perfect. Like, Yes, and because it's like when it comes to mental health and it's about our emotions and well-being, it's like that's the type of stuff that makes us feel safe. Like, oh, he gets it, he gets me, he loves me, he da 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 da. So I love that. I was gonna add on to that. It's all emotional based. Like, a man who can hold his frame against my emotions. I love that because they're just antics. It's just energy. I'm like you, girl. I'm a little dramatic. And it's just like, if you don't know me, it might be like, oh my God. And it's like, no, I'm just very, And so it's just like, let us have our grace. But even if you do want to be a fix-it, like some of the things, I think it comes over time. It comes with getting to know people. But, I like snacks. Okay. If you're going to go get me a snack, you know what I'm saying? Some ice cream, let me go. Contribute to my calm. Are we gonna, smoke a little bit?
Right.
Do you want to go out and like just catering to? I dated this one guy, and even though it didn't work out, I was just like, I couldn't even get my words out because I'm not all the way used to sharing everything I'm feeling. I know what it sounds like in here, but when it comes out my mouth, I'm like, oh my God, like, was this even a thing? So I was sharing with him, and he was just listening so intently, and he was like, you want me to run you a bath? I was like, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, thank you. But it made me feel cared for, heard, seen, and had nothing to do with it's just like, let's calm you down. Let me contribute to what can be your piece, so to speak. And that's it. Like, sometimes I feel like women, we feel complicated, but I just think it comes back to how we translate the way we're dealing with things. And it could be simple. The little things are the big things. It's the snacks, it's the going out for the moment, it's the running of the bath, it's
the number one thing that I learned was when she comes home from work, listen to her how her day was. She's gonna tell you everything about the job. You just need to listen. Like, you can't believe Sarah did this, and I'm like, okay, Sarah did this.
I know it's a lot. I know. Yeah. So what I try to do too, thank God I got good girlfriends. Because when I need to really unload, I'm gonna go to them first, just so by the time I come to my guy, I can be just a little succinct. He's still gonna get the tea, but I already ran it all the way down to my handful. I got Val and Keandra, BJ. I got a whole squad of people where we just I get 30, 40 minutes of voice notes daily. We just be, and I know that's not y'all's thing. So, hopefully we're contributing. If everybody has a little bit of emotional intelligence and awareness about each other, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, this was such a fun conversation, guys. I appreciate your time this evening. Anything left over you want to share before we just get on out of here for World Mental Health Day?
Thank you for having me, Jamie. It was great to meet you, BJ. Great to meet you, Michael. I enjoyed hearing your all's perspective, your expertise, and your stories and your testimonies and experience. And so, I think we did a great job for World Mental Health Day.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I would just say that mental health is a universal human right. And let's just continue to get some knowledge and raise some awareness and continue to advocate, and just so that we can just kind of break the stigma. And it starts with us. And this conversation was so healthy. It was so full. It was just so inviting. And so hopefully, other people will tap into this more and have more conversations. So thank you for allowing me to be here and just to kind of have this conversation as well. I thought it was great. It was like meeting you guys that do self-care.
Yeah, definitely a pleasure. Something a break from my normal because usually, like I said, I go to bed so early these days. So this has been a lot of fun. It was great meeting all of you, and find your tribe, find your community. That's one thing I'm hard up on is finding your community, finding your people. It's out there. There are groups out there. One of the groups that I work with is Love and Kindness Wellness Services. It's lk-wellness.com. And they do a lot of free virtual mental health events, especially for Black and Brown folks. They have a decolonized approach to mental health, and they're just phenomenal. I've been working with them on the community and business development side. And, it's just something I'm passionate about. I'm usually behind the scenes, but thank you guys for having me today. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you guys so much. You're so brilliant, well-spoken, and I just love that we got the chance to get together. And the last thing I just want to tell people is invest in your mental health. We invest in college, houses, cars, insurance, all of these things, but this is your eternal home. Well, eternal, as long as we're here. So invest in your mental health, whether it's a life coach, a therapist, psychiatrist, whatever. Spend some time to get to know you. Self-mastery is valuable. And it really makes the ride just a little bit more fun when you feel like you got some kind of hold on the wheel. You know what I mean? So thank you guys so much. And yes, until next time, happy World Mental Health Day. And we will see you guys in the next video.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks,
Yes,
Jamie.
thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.
Okay. Call me girl.